Hello, welcome, or welcome back. Please have a seat. We're about to begin another new dark tale. Warning. The Ember Ink Studios are not responsible for ruining your childhood. Proceed with caution. Many of the earliest fairy tales were not about magic kingdoms or happily ever after. They were about survival, about desperate bargains made in dark places, and sometimes about dealing directly with the devil himself. Tonight's story is one of the strangest tales collected from European folklore, the story of a soldier who agreed to work for the devil for 7 years. Long before fairy tales were softened for children, these stories were darker. They were tales of betrayal, revenge, strange magic, and sometimes terrible justice. In the early 1800s, the Brothers Grimm traveled across Germany, collecting these stories from villagers, travelers, and storytellers. What they preserved were not the gentle bedtime stories we know today. They were the original versions, forgotten, unsettling, and sometimes shocking. Welcome to the dark origins of fairy tales, the versions they never told you. What is a fairy tale? Before fairy tales were written down, they were passed from one generation to the next through spoken storytelling. They were told in taverns, beside fireplaces, and in villages across Europe. These stories often reflected the fears and beliefs of the time: poverty, war, death, and the ever-present idea that supernatural forces might interfere in human lives. In the early 19th century, the Brothers Grimm traveled through Germany gathering these old tales. They preserved them much as they were told, strange, unsettling details included, and few are stranger than the story of the devil's sooty brother. Fairy tale fact. In many European folk traditions, the devil is not always portrayed as an unstoppable force of evil. Instead, he often appears as a trickster figure, sometimes clever, sometimes foolish. And more than once, the heroes of these stories manage to outwit him. But escaping a deal with the devil is never easy. Series 2, Episode 7, The Devil's Sooty Brother. Once there was a soldier who had returned from war with nothing, no money, no home, no future. As he wandered the road, a mysterious stranger approached him. The stranger asked if the soldier wanted work. The soldier agreed. But the stranger soon revealed who he truly was. It was the devil. The devil offered the soldier a bargain. For 7 years, the soldier would serve him in the underworld. If he completed the work, he would return to the world richer than he had ever imagined. But if he failed, he would belong to the devil forever. With little left to lose, the soldier accepted. The devil led him down into a dark place beneath the earth. There the soldier was given a simple task. He was to tend the fires beneath enormous iron kettles. Inside the kettles boiled the souls of the damned. The devil gave him one very important warning. Never lift the lids from the kettles. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. And before long the soldier could not resist. He lifted the lid of the first kettle. Inside was a powerful king he had once served. The king begged the soldier to stir the fire beneath him. The soldier did so. Then he lifted the lid of the second kettle. Inside was another familiar face. Soon he lifted the lid of the third kettle. Each time he stirred the flames as the trapped souls requested. But the devil discovered what he had done. Instead of punishing him, the devil simply laughed. Because the soldier had been clever enough to follow the rest of his instructions. For 7 long years the soldier tended the fires of hell. During that time, he never washed, never cut his hair, and never cleaned the soot that covered his skin. By the end of his service, he was black with soot from head to toe. When the 7 years were finished, the devil kept his promise. He filled the soldier's pockets with gold, then he sent him back to the world above. But when people saw the soldier's appearance, they were terrified. No one would let him enter their homes. No one would speak to him. Until one day, he came to the house of a poor innkeeper. The innkeeper allowed him to stay. During the evening, the soldier gave the innkeeper's daughters gold coins. Soon his generosity began to change the way people saw him. Eventually, the soldier married the innkeeper's youngest daughter, and although he had once worked for the devil himself, he lived the rest of his life as a wealthy and respected man. Please don't leave yet. We have another dark tale for you to enjoy. The 3 Snake Leaves. Another grim tale tells the story of a young man who devoted his life to serving a princess. When the princess fell ill and died, the young man refused to accept her death. He stayed beside her coffin in mourning. While he sat there, 3 snakes slithered into the chamber. The young man killed one of them, but the remaining snakes placed 3 mysterious leaves on their fallen companion. To his amazement, the dead snake returned to life. The young man took the leaves and used them on the princess, and she rose from the dead. But sometimes the dead do not return unchanged. After marrying the young man who saved her, the princess eventually betrayed him. She plotted his death during a sea voyage. But the truth of her betrayal was discovered, and the man who had once brought her back to life watched as she was cast into the sea. Many of the old fairy tales remind us of something simple. Be careful what bargains you make, whether with kings, with strangers, or with the devil himself, because sometimes the price is higher than anyone expects. In the next episode of the Dark Origins of Fairy Tales, we explore the grim story of the Devil's Grandmother, our series finale. A tale involving many of the oldest fairy tales teach a simple lesson. Power does not always win. Sometimes survival depends on cleverness. Sometimes it depends on luck. And sometimes the only way to defeat the devil is to ask his grandmother for help. If you think you know this story, you might be surprised by what the original version contains. The Ember Ink Studios would like to thank you for listening to this episode. If there is a dark, grim tale you would like to hear explored in a future episode, please leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing, turning on notifications, and giving the video a like. That way you'll never miss the next journey into the darker side of folklore. Until next time. Remember, the stories we grew up with are rarely the ones that were first told.